Welcome to this episode in holistic health. Up to now, we have talked about emotional health, social health, and mental health, including also physical health. Now, all these healths are required as a prerequisite for the topic that we are going to talk on today, spiritual health. So, what is spiritual health? Well, if you take this as a range of normalcy, beyond this range is abnormality, physical ill health, and mental ill health. These are deviations from the norm and need to be treated with medicines and other therapeutic measures to bring them within the range of normalcy. Now, within this range of normalcy, we occupy some position or the other. And according to our nature, we develop a system of beliefs around our nature. Similarly, other people who occupy a different position on this same range of normalcy have developed their system of belief. Now, in life, we will get all types of inputs. Some of them may fit in with our thinking, that is readily accepted. But some things which are outside our range of acceptance, what do we do with that? Either we reject it outright or we distort it to somehow or the other fit it into our way of thinking. This leads to the emotional ill health. What are we supposed to do? This input is an opportunity for us to now widen our frame of reference so that it is included. Till then, what are we trying to do? Trying to change everything else to fit into our viewpoint. So instead of rejecting or distorting the reality, we have to widen our horizons so that we come to terms with the empirical reality as it exists. Then you neither reject something nor you distort anything. This is coming from Tamasic Gnan to Rajasic Gnan. Tamasic Gnan is the Gnan of the 6 blind men and the elephant. Narrow perspective based on their own nature. Rajasic Gnan is accepting all the reality in its variegated form as it is. Then what is Sattvic Gnan? Sattvic Gnan is accepting the unity behind this wide range of variation. Like this is chair, this is cupboard, this is table. No, all of that is wood. Or this is a bangle, this is a earring, or this is a necklace. No, all of that is gold. So seeing the oneness behind the various forms is Sattvic Gnan. And then beyond the Sattvic Gnan towards Atma Gnan by removing the nescience. So unless and until there is physical health, there is mental health, there is emotional health, and there is social health, you cannot progress in this direction. So to ensure spiritual growth, we need all these types of health for our own purpose. Now, while talking on the emotional health, we had seen that once we change our beliefs from unrealistic beliefs to realistic beliefs, we are going to be in a state of emotional equilibrium, as a result of which we will be able to perform appropriate actions, we will have cordial relationships with others, and we will not suppress our emotions so that there are no psychogenic ailments like neurotic disorders and psychosomatic disorders. This is the obvious benefit. There is one much bigger benefit, and what is that is what we are going to talk today in this episode. To explain that, let me give an analogy. Suppose there is a room which opens into another room and you are standing outside the outer room and somebody comes out of the doorway. Would you be able to tell whether the person has come from the inner room or the outer room?
No.
No. But if you knew that the outer room is totally empty, then whosoever has come from the outer room has come from the inner room. We too have these two rooms within us. The outer room is the ego, from which comes the various desires, which lead to the disturbances. The inner room is the soul, from which comes the voice of conscience, which directs us what we are supposed to do in life. So the soul is always prompting us, but we are so busy in our worldly affairs, so busy in trying to gratify our desires and thereby generating disturbance, that this inner voice is drowned out. Once we empty that outer room, get rid of the desires, get rid of the disturbances, then we become receptive to this inner guidance. And that inner guidance directs us, tells us, helps us in doing what we are supposed to do. What it tells us, to explain that, let me build a background. We know a daily cycle of day and night. We also know a monthly cycle of bright fortnight and dark fortnight. We also know a yearly cycle of northern passage of the sun and the southern passage of the sun, the Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. There is a big cycle which is called Kalp. In that Kalp, there is a night of Brahma and then there is a day of Brahma. Again there is a night of Brahma, again there is a day of Brahma. What is the duration of this Kalp? 1000 Mahayug. And each Mahayug consists of one Satyug, one Tretayug, one Dwapar and one Kalyug. 1000 such Mahayugs constitute the day of Brahma. Before the day of Brahma dawns, in the night of Brahma, there is nothing but Brahman. At the advent of the day of Brahma, from this Brahman springs out two principles, Purush and Prakriti. Purush is the spiritual principle, Prakriti is the material principle. This is a big bang. From there, the universe expands. We have not yet reached the peak. It is still expanding. After reaching the peak, there will be contraction. At the Mahapralaya, the big crunch, the entire creation dissolves back into Brahman. Again, during the night of the Brahma, there is only Brahman alone. And this cycle keeps on going on. From the material principle of Prakriti arises the various worlds. The world that we are living in is called Mrityulok. There are other worlds like heaven, hell, Pitrulok, etc. We are not concerned with that. But these worlds are inhabited by jivas. So what is the jiv? The jiv is actual an Atman, which is covered by nescience or ajna, so that it does not realize its own true nature as the spirit. This jivatma comes to life, takes birth, to undergo experiences in life, to reduce this ajnan layer by layer, so that it can ultimately re-become the Atman. When it takes birth, it itself is very inactive, so it's provided with an agent, the ego, the ahankar, and two sets of instruments, the inner, the mind, and the outer, the body. The ego is supposed to use these instruments, mind and body, in the service of the soul to help in reduction of the ajnan, so that it can achieve its goal of self-realization. This is the purpose of life. Now, what is the relationship between Brahm and Atman? They are one and the same. Like say, there are earthen pots, each containing a plastic bag containing water, and the pots are floating on the ocean. Now there is water within the pot and there is water outside the pot. What is the difference?
The faucet, water in the packet.
Yeah. So it is limited, whereas the other is unlimited. If the earthen pot breaks, the water within the plastic bag enters another earthen pot. But if the plastic bag breaks,
It becomes one.
It becomes one with the water of the ocean. This is Atmagnan. The pot is the body, the plastic bag is the Agnan, and the water within the plastic bag is the Atman, and the water of the ocean is the Brahman. And this is what we have come here to achieve. Examples of people who have achieved this goal?
Raman Maharshi,
Raman Maharshi,
Gautam Buddha.
Ramakrishna Paramhans, Arvind Ghosh, Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavir, Jesus Christ, Muhammad Paigambar, all the prophets. And we too can achieve the same goal if we follow their instructions. Now, why did that Agnan arise? Many people have tried to answer that question, like Swami Vivekanand, Swami Ramtirth, I.K. Taimini, Yoganand Paramhans. One person said that the question is out of place. Another said that you'll get the answer when you attain to self-realization. One person gave a very good answer, which I'll share with you. He said, suppose you are dreaming, and in the dream you see two people quarreling. So you ask the person standing next to you as to why are they quarreling. Now, before you get any answer from him, you wake up. Your sleep breaks. Now, what will you do with the question? The question does not remain. Now, suppose during the dream state, somebody from the waking state has entered it, and you ask that person from the waking state, why are they quarreling? What would be his answer? He's from the waking state. Yes?
Nobody is quarreling.
Nobody is quarreling. So, will you digest the answer?
No.
No. You'll tell him, are you blind? Can't you see them quarreling? He will say, it's your own imagination. But you cannot digest that answer. Till you wake up. So forget how Agnan arose, wake up. Now, what is the relationship between the Jeev, the soul, and the Ahankar, the ego? In Sankhya Karika, it is said that a lame person and a blind person individually cannot reach the goal. But if the blind person carries the lame person on his shoulder and follows his directives, then the two in unison can reach the goal. The soul is the lame person, the ego is the blind person. The ego is supposed to act under the directives of the soul. If you want a more modern analogy, then the driver of the car and the owner of the car. Who is active?
Driver.
For whose sake?
Owner's sake.
Can you tell the owner, hey, shut up, I'll go wherever I want?
No.
Or the manager of the shop and the owner of the shop. Who is active? Manager. For whose sake? Owner's sake. But if the manager does not keep the interest of the owner in mind, he pilfers good, brings in inferior quality material, fudges the accounts, or flicks money from the counter, then the same manager now becomes a damager. When the ego refuses to accept its true role as the servant of the soul, but considers himself to be the master, then he does not perform his duties, does not perform his role, his swadharma, to serve the soul, but lives as it pleases. So it deviates from the path of Shreyas onto the path of Preyas. And when it deviates, it invites the law of karma. Mind you, the law of karma is not the primary law. The primary law is the law of dharma. The law of karma is a penal code. The police apprehends only a person who has violated the law. Till then, it doesn't come into action. Similarly, when we violate the natural laws, then the law of karma comes into operation. What is this law of karma? We shall discuss in the next episode.